Today we're talking about SEO for wedding photographers.
Keep waving. This is good stuff, man.
Welcome to the studio. Our upstairs neighbors control the heat, and I don't think that they were home last night, so it's a little chilly in here today. Today we're talking about SEO, which is search engine optimization, which means getting your website ranking up there on Google. The first thing I want to give a shout out to is if you are a Focal website user, if you've signed up, one, thank you. You're going to be very, very happy. And two, a lot of this won't apply because the Focal website just does all of this for you, that you don't have to worry, that you just essentially, all you have to do is come up with titles of things that people will be searching for in your local area, and your content will organically rank, and also it will look amazing in the Google listing. And if you haven't yet signed up for your website, I know a lot of you have, head on over to the link in the description below and get your name on the wait list. If you're on that wait list within January, you get the free design, so $935 USD is saved. You don't pay that. You sign up for the year and you don't have to pay the setup fee. And it's a full turnkey wedding photography website solution where they will actually write all your copy for you. They'll ask you some questions and they'll type out exactly words as you would say them. You can obviously change them if you want, but I would say 95% accurate overall. I was incredibly happy with what they gave me as a first draft. First draft was actually a final draft of my website. And not only that, it comes with a full back end that you can actually send your contracts out, you can take bookings, you can accept credit card payments all in one spot. And over the year, it's going to continue to get better and better and better. And we will actually, in this video, be talking to Lachlan, who is the CEO of Focal, for a little bit more of his tips. I feel like I am somebody that I have a computer programming background. I went to post-secondary school for computer programming, actually, of all things. And I am pretty good at it, but I'm not somebody that looks at hundreds of photographers' websites and actually has proper data on it. So we are going to be talking to Lachlan a little bit later in this video. Until then though, I have some things to talk to you about. Number one is define the right keywords. Figure out what keywords you actually want to target. I would say wedding photographer or wedding photography in whatever local area you're in is a pretty good place to start. I would say it is likely what most people are searching for as just kind of if they're looking specifically for a wedding photographer. Beyond that, I think it's important to know what keywords people are searching for in your area that don't involve wedding photography. So if there's a venue and people are looking for real weddings or they're looking for wedding photos from, figure out what people are searching for. There are tools on Google that you can actually use if you're interested that'll actually give you kind of the keyword readouts of how many people are searching and what ones might be worth targeting, as well as some suggestions. But that said, a lot of the time we're kind of limited to the locations we've shot. So if you've shot a venue, figure out the best title that you can to basically get in front of anyone searching for anything to do with that venue when they're actually looking for wedding photos of it. If you can be the wedding photos that they experience their venue through for the first time, there's a pretty good chance they're going to remember you and they're going to come back to you for your wedding photography. And if you happen to be a preferred vendor at that venue, then everything's just easy. So that was number one, find the right keywords. Number two is to create a business listing on Google. It's also very easy. You can just go and do that. That's number two. That was an easy point. Number three is optimize for mobile devices. I looked at my stats for the first time in a long time, and I am over 67% people on mobile devices looking at my website. So I used to be like, yeah, my mobile website looks pretty good. I didn't realize that it's now what I would consider to be the main website, that most people that come to my website, 2 out of 3 people are actually looking at the mobile design. So make sure it looks good. If you're getting a Focal website, it just looks great. It actually looks incredible, honestly. I am very, 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 very happy with the mobile design. Next tip is to make sure you have lots of high quality, genuinely helpful content, not just stuff that's there to clickbait people to get on your website. They realize it's just like a few bullet points. It's not really that useful. If you can be creating useful content, whether it's video content, whether it's just text content, whether it's some photos or graphs. I don't know how you make graphs for wedding photography, but as long as you have a lot of good, helpful content on your website, people are going to come over to it. The longer somebody spends on your website, the better that's going to look for Google, and the more likely they are to send you traffic in the future. It's also the more likely that people are going to share it. They're going to email it to their friend or their mom or whatever. Maybe, I feel like it's usually the mom emailing the son or daughter some helpful content, but make sure you are making that helpful content. I've spoken about this in the past that, like, essentially if there's no local wedding photography magazine, do everything that you can to really bring the most value to your local wedding community, specifically to people that are looking to get married. It's their first time getting married. They're a little bit nervous. They don't know exactly how to do it. The the more of a guide you can give them, the better it's going to be. You can even make I've made a full guide to how to get married in the local area here, complete with lots of different stats and venues and walkthroughs and whatnot. You can do that as well if you want, if you're feeling that ambitious. I don't remember what we're on. Make videos. Google owns YouTube, so if you're making good, helpful YouTube content, not for photographers, like don't create wedding photography camera reviews, although I was talking to Sam Hurd and he said that wedding photographers also get married and they tend to choose him more often than not. And I think a lot of those came from his technical knowledge. Maybe he's a bit of an outlier. If I was looking at the local area, I would be creating as much helpful video content and getting it up on YouTube and having all of that point back to my website and also having it embedded at the top of the blog post that gives even more information. And the more of a surround sound effect and the more incoming links you can actually throw back to your website that are high quality links. If you have a video, again, local market, 5,000 people watch that video. That's a pretty crazy success. Those 5,000 people maybe all came back to your website if there's within the video saying like, hey, check out the link in the description to learn more and to see some more stills. If they come through to there, all of a sudden Google is going to be very, very happy with your website and they're going to, again, be sending you more and more traffic. A few other tips, make sure your loading speed is fast. If you have a slow server, I used to be on a GoDaddy shared server and it was just not incredibly slow. It was tragically slow from time to time. Some days it would work 1-2 seconds, my website would be there, sometimes 10, 15, 18 seconds. And if you're looking at a website that's just very slow to load, that it's not populating as fast as it should be, maybe honestly have a look at the Focal website because it loads just super fast. Also, another tip is to make sure that your website is as user-friendly as it can possibly be. People aren't there to be wowed by the experience of being on a really unique and interesting website. They're there to find a wedding photographer. The faster and more direct and easy you can make that, the better. As you can see on my mobile website, it is very clear. The next step is to head on over to pricing and to see the packages and then to go from there. So the easier you can make that journey, the better it's going to be for the person on the other end of the computer, and they're gonna spend a little bit more time on your website. I will also say breaking out the packages gives you more view time, so when they're on looking through my packages, now rather than just actually seeing a PDF with a bunch of line items and being like, I don't know, I think package 3, now they can actually go through to each individual package and kind of compare them, which means they've now spent more time on my website, which looks better to Google. Another thing that is, we'll talk about this in the video here with Lachlan, but the way that your links actually look is very important for getting click-throughs. So for instance, the one that he's gonna show us is getting like, I believe he says a 30% click-through rate. So when someone sees that first page of Google, 30% of people are clicking on that third link down, which means very quickly it's going to be the #1 link, just based on that metric alone. So now we're gonna talk to Lachlan, who lives and breathes this space, and he's going to talk to you about everything that you need to know about SEO for your wedding photography business.
I think the big thing about SEO is it's really not that hard, but there's just a lot of like little things that you have to sort of get right, and when they tie together, that's when you can get those really great rankings. So it's things like internal linking and meta descriptions and meta titles and alt tags and all these things that it takes a long time to learn and then a long time to implement. And with Focal and the packages and the websites, what we really wanted to do is make something where you don't have to think about it. Really, all you need to think about is just naming your page something that somebody's searching for. Yeah. And this is pretty much like a great example. These Christmas minis in Victoria, this photographer I know was just creating these Christmas minis, or creating this Christmas mini package because she needed to, because she wanted to promote her Christmas minis that year, with no intention of like trying to make it for SEO or for ranking on Google. She figured, oh, I'll just send the link to people. And then out of the blue, it just sort of landed on 3rd position for the search Christmas Mini Victoria, BC. And the reason for that is you can see right here that the title is pretty much, it's exactly matching. It's like the person searching Christmas Mini Victoria, BC, the meta description right here, which is automatically set when you create a package, or automatically set when you create like a gallery with Focal or a blog post. It's just already there. And the way we structured the data with the ratings too, like Google is giving a huge amount of preference to pages that have these reviews in there. Actually, Google is giving a huge boost to pages that include price, because they know customers want to know how much things cost. And so those things are all just like built into Focal, which is really great. I think like if there's any tip that I would give photographers about SEO, has nothing to do with Focal. It's just that like, I think the biggest thing that everyone misses is they just like don't even let Google know that their pages exist. They don't submit a sitemap to the Search Console, which is literally just like a list of all the web pages on your site, and you're just saying, "Hey Google, here are my web pages. Please index them. Please include them when people are searching." And that's something that with Focal we do that for you immediately. And yeah, you can be ranking within a couple weeks easily. And Google gives a lot of authority to websites that have a lot of pages about a specific topic. So, if you're writing a lot about, say, even a venue, like I know you've shot a lot at like a Laura Mill.
Yeah.
If you have a lot of like blog posts or galleries about a Laura Mill, Taylor's website has a lot of content. It must know a lot about a Laura Mill. And so when people are searching, they might just be typing in like a Laura Mill wedding photos, and then you'll actually show up right there. Yeah, I think SEO is very complicated, but you can make it really simple. And the way to do that is just, first of all, just making sure that Google knows about your website. That's obviously number one. The second thing is just like thinking about, from a customer standpoint, what am I searching for? And as a photographer, what do I want to show up for? Obviously, it's going to be really hard to compete for, a term like wedding photographer in my area, like in Kitchener-Waterloo or something like that. Areas that you can compete could be like something we see is like venues is a big one. Like, a lot of couples when they're planning their wedding, they're looking for different venues and they want to see photos of those venues and photos taken there. So if you write a bunch of blog posts about a certain venue, that's a really easy way to start ranking right away, because it's gonna be pretty low competition. And it's also just like a really, I guess, like organic content marketing way to get in front of couples who are, looking for a venue, but then looking for a photographer probably immediately after, and they know you have experience there. And it's really great. So I would say, number one, make sure Google knows about your website and your pages. Number two, think about what people are searching for. And then number three is literally just start creating pages about that thing.
Yeah.
And you'll rank.
So to close this out and to hammer this point home one more time, create good, helpful content and things that are genuinely helpful to people, that they come over to your website and they will read it, they will spend time there, they'll send it to some people. Make some video content that adds to that content and really just kind of create the most helpful resource that you possibly can when it comes to wedding photography. And you're going to find that your website is ranking number one in no time. That sounds like a sales pitch. I don't know if it's that easy, but you'll definitely be on your way and you'll definitely be ranking a lot higher in a lot of different search results than you ever have before. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Don't forget to turn the bell on, subscribe. Tomorrow, back again with another video. Tomorrow, we're actually going to be talking about website conversion, which is something that I didn't really ever think about too much until I actually started talking to Lachlan and the Focal website. And get your name on that list in the description below if you're interested in getting a Focal website. Save $935 USD free setup if you're signing up for the year of the website. Not only are you getting an amazing custom-made turnkey website that there's a copywriter and they'll actually sound like you and they'll populate your entire page and they'll be like, here you go. What do you think? And then you'd be like, that looks pretty good. I think I'm done. And then it just goes live and then you book lots of weddings. You also get the back end that will help you book those weddings and accept credit card payments and make your life so much easier, as well as template contracts. And the system's just going to get better and better and better over this year and over the next years to come. That's all for today. We'll be back in tomorrow to talk more about website conversion. See you then. It's always awkward ending these.